Hi Ronald, my name's Allison. I'm going to be your clinician today if you'd like to follow me back.
Absolutely. How's it going, Allison?
I'm good, how are you? Alright, so I just had a chance to look over some of the things you jotted down for me. It says that you're having some trouble hearing your wife and grandkids. Could you just go into a little bit more detail for me?
Absolutely, yeah. So, my wife, she's been complaining to me for so long now. Oh my God, you can't hear me. And I'm like, you got to speak a little bit louder, hon.
Yeah.
The TV's on, and I just think it's a matter of her not speaking loud enough there. But with the grandkids, there's 4 of them, and they're young. They're 5, 7, 9, and 11. They're all boys, and they all make a ton of noise. So it's hard to hear them when they're all at the house together.
So just when everyone's kind of jumbled all at once.
Yeah.
And this has been going on for how long?
About 2 years now.
2 years. Alright. You never had any issues before this?
No, not that I can remember. No.
Alright, so no hearing tests prior?
No.
Okay, and any family history? You put unsure, so just
I
can't quite remember?
I really can't remember. Yeah.
Alright, that's fine, that's fine.
Getting old these days.
So noises in your ears. You say that you've been experiencing some ringing in your ears for a little bit after you get home from work. Is this kind of like a high-pitched ring? Can you kind of explain this to me?
Yeah, I'd almost describe it as like a quiet, like really like high-pitched, like little kids screaming at me almost. It's real high-pitched and it's pretty quiet, but I can hear it. And normally it's there when I'm finishing up work, and it stays for a little bit.
Yeah. What do you do for work?
Yeah, so I'm in manufacturing, so I work at a factory, and we bring in these huge logs, and essentially we have saws all over, and they're running around the clock, and we basically cut logs.
How long have you been working here?
I want to say maybe 17, 18 years now.
Was ear protection ever offered by your employer? Were you ever one to choose ear protection, like earplugs, even if it's just the little foam ones that you stick in?
Yeah, they never offered it to us. It was an option. I think they've said, or some people have worn it and they haven't said anything. I don't think they've ever said anything about it, but yeah, I think if you want, you can.
Okay. So you've had your earwax removed by a physician prior.
Yeah.
It says a couple of times. Was it a couple of times a year? Is it just once in a while you've had to just go in?
Just in general, I've only ever gotten it done twice, I believe.
All right. So was that a issue of the wax, or was it sawdust from work?
Actually, it was a little bit of both. My ears were very dirty, and then also I found they were like almost like plugged, sort of, and so it did have to do with wax. The doctor said, and that was fixed right after it was removed.
Okay. And you don't feel that you have a better ear? You think that they're like equally as bad to you?
Yeah, I think they both give me some trouble.
Okay. Other medical concerns, you wrote down that you're diabetic. What type of diabetes do you have?
Type 1.
Type 1,
yeah.
So you're insulin dependent,
Yes.
correct? Okay. How long ago were you diagnosed?
It's probably around roughly 8 years now.
Okay, and you're quite steady?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know we touched on your grandkids and your wife, but you did put down restaurants and group gatherings are an issue when following conversation and you're having a difficult hearing there.
Yeah.
Do you want to go a little bit in depth with the group gatherings for me? How often? Who do you go with? Where you go?
Well, I don't think I wrote it down on there, but I actually do have a group of gentlemen I go with. We go bird watching every week, probably I'd say about 2 times a week. And with that, I think I am having a little bit of troubles hearing, because when we're out and we're bird watching, a couple of times in the last few months, it's happened where one of my buddies just lets me know, oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that blue heron squawking? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Where was it? And
Yeah.
I feel like, some things I'm missing out on, and even just, some talking. And then with that, we also go to restaurants after we're done bird watching normally, and I find a lot of the times I have trouble hearing the people sitting at the far ends of the table. So, there's 6 of us. So the person in front of me, diagonally, and to the left of me, I'm good with. But normally the far left of the table, diagonally, and the far left, I have trouble hearing.
Okay. All right. Well, that's definitely good to know. How often do you go, though? Is it a couple times a week?
Yeah, so bird watching twice a week roughly, and then I'd say normally every time we go for brunch after.
All right, so everything you've given me I've taken into consideration. I am just going to take a look inside of your ear if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to find out what it's looking like, make sure that we've got no issues going on. All right, so if you don't mind, I'm just going to take a peek inside of your ear.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll move to the other ear.
For sure.
All right. Looks good. Okay, Ronald, so I have your test results after doing all those beat tests and everything with you. So as you can see on the top here, we have our pitches from low to high, and then we have our volume again from low to high.
Okay.
So at the top of this, you're going to see a little bit of a gray area. So this is what we're going to call average hearing.
Yeah.
So you can see little X's and O's throughout here.
Yeah.
The X's are going to represent your left ear, and the O's are going to represent your right ear. So this is all you're hearing.
So for my hearing to be normal, all of this has to be within that gray box?
Yeah, so as you can see, as you kind of get up into the higher pitches,
Yeah.
your hearing starts to drop below the average hearing. So it goes into more of a mild to moderate hearing loss.
But my hearing is in the gray in this part.
Yeah, so you're having not as much difficulty with the lower frequencies, so the lower pitches.
Okay.
It's more of the higher ones that you're having an issue with. That's where your hearing starts to get below average.
Right.
So, based off of everything that we've discussed, I do think that you're a good candidate for hearing aids. What's going to happen is with hearing aids, we're going to take any sounds that you can't hear, and we're just going to try and boost them to be at a level that you can hear.
Mhm.
So to make that a little bit easier, I do have this graph. It's just the same thing as this, just with familiar sounds that you may know. So right here, you're going to see some letters.
Yeah.
This represents the letters in speech. So when you're saying a word, each letter has a different sound, and these sounds can sometimes not be picked up. So the P in a word may not be picked up, so then you're missing part of a word instead of the whole thing, and that can be just as frustrating as missing the
Right.
whole word
Yeah.
entirely. So one things I want to point out is these birds chirping. So you talked to me about you and your friends going bird watching, and you were having trouble hearing birds. That would show right here because it's closer to these higher frequencies, these
Right.
higher
so in
pitches.
between 4 to 8,000, so about right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
so-
because this line is under where the birds would be, I can't hear that.
Yeah, so I'm not saying you can't hear all birds because you can hear some, but some birds may make different pitch sounds, so you may not hear some of them.
Right.
Which our goal with hearing aids would be to take these birds and be able to boost their sound and get them to a level where you would be able to hear them. They would end
Okay.
up below the X's and O's.
Right.
So we're not changing your hearing. Your hearing is going to stay how it is.
Okay. So does that mean my hearing's not going to get better then? Like my line can't go back up into the normal range?
It can't go back up, but we're going to be able to bring the sounds that you are missing out on to a level where you can hear them. So it's
Right.
we're going to do our best to make it like it was before. It may not be perfect, but it will be as good as we can get it with your hearing loss.
So then, will my hearing keep getting worse? Like, is this line gonna keep going down, or?
So it's not going to get any better, but I can't say that it will get any worse. We're going to do our best to maintain it, and that's why hearing aids would be a good option. Hearing aids are going to ensure that you're having that protection. You're not having any more hearing damage done because you're having the right levels of sound being put into your ear.
Right.
With that, I'm just going to fill out a couple of scenarios with you. We did talk about quite a few of them before, but I want to make sure that we're giving you the most benefit that we can. So if hearing aids are an option, I do want to have this done prior so that we can go ahead with making sure that your improvement is being met. So I'm just going to ask for about 5 scenarios or specific needs that you would want from us being able to give you hearing aids, what you want out of coming to see me, buying hearing aids down the future. I want to know what areas you want the most improvement in. So we talked about bird watching. I put that in.
Okay.
I put wife and I put grandkids.
Those are 2 big ones. Yeah, all 3 of those.
All
are
3
really
of those
important.
were the big ones. Okay,
Yeah.
so was there 2 others you want? I can add 2 more to this if you'd like. Just think of anything that bothered you coming into this appointment that you'd be happy with if we resolve that for you.
I think the biggest one that's left unmentioned right now is the restaurants.
The restaurants?
That's going to be the biggest area of struggle for me, right? I think it's like I said earlier, someone sitting on the opposite end of the table, I really can't hear them.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll put that in there. I just want to confirm, so for bird watching, twice a week, you want to be able to hear the bird sounds, but you also want to be able to hear your friends talking to you at the same time.
Yeah.
So for your wife, you want to know what she's saying without having her tell you that it's your problem and not hers. And definitely from other rooms, you want to have a little bit of leeway to be able to hear her from an adjacent room.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're going to be able to hear her from downstairs while you have the TV on, but you might be able to hear her if she's in the kitchen and your living room is close.
Okay.
That would be a scenario where we could help that if that's an issue. Your grandkids, you have 4 of them. You'd love to hear them all, especially when it's the rowdy environments that they create.
100%. It's really tough.
I understand that. So, that's something that hearing aids can definitely help you with. The background noise, we can definitely help with that.
Okay.
Restaurants, you go about twice a week, so you want to be able to hear all of your friends at the table no matter where they're sitting.
Yep.
As well as you want to know when the waiters are talking to your table and
Absolutely.
not to your
one of the
other ones
things.
across the restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, so with these 4 scenarios, I just want you to rank them from 1 to 4, 1 being the most important and 4 being the least.
Yeah, so I'd say, honestly, in the order you were talking about them is probably how I'd categorize them. So the bird watching will probably be number 1. It's my every week activity. It's what I love to do. So,
yeah.
Following that, my wife and then my grandkids and the restaurants, those would be the next 3.
You're not going to let her know that the birds are more important, though, right?
I don't know. You better not call her.
I'm not saying anything. That's on you. So, all right. So as you can see right here, how I'm going to do it is that once we go ahead with hearing aids, once you've chosen, we've got you fit for them, I'm going to go ahead and see how these scenarios are after a couple days, a week, 2 weeks of you wearing them. We can check back in, see how your bird watching was for those couple of weeks. We can determine if it was either better, maybe it was much better. What we want to avoid is it being in the worst and no difference around there, because then the hearing aids haven't done what they're supposed to be doing. And then after that, we're going to check in again, and then we'll see finally overall how you feel, how happy you are, and how much improvement you've gotten in these really important areas to you.
Right. So I think the one thing is that I'm still concerned. I still have a few concerns, actually. I'm not quite set on 100% getting a pair of hearing aids. I don't know on how your process works on if it's now or if I have to book another appointment, but the cost part of the hearing aids is definitely something that lingers in the back of my mind. And then, honestly, my hands shake a lot, I find, so I have a lot of trouble with small things, so I think, the struggles of maybe I don't even know that I could get a hearing aid in my ear,
I understand what you're saying. So on the financial aspect, there are a couple of routes we can go. We can definitely see if you'd be eligible for WSIB. So in your case, you do have quite a bit of noise exposure at work, so there's a chance that you could be covered through WSIB.
Okay.
And in that instance, they would cover the hearing aids.
So am I covered by WSIB, or how does that work?
So you are covered as a worker. We just have to make sure that your hearing loss meets the criteria that they would consider a work-related hearing loss.
And in this case, do you think my hearing loss will, or if you take a peek at it? I don't know.
I can say that it does have the characteristics that meet the requirements for the noise-induced hearing loss from work. So we'll definitely fill out some paperwork, and we'll hear back just to see if that's an option.
Okay.
If not, we do have another option. So we do have ADP, which will give you $500 per hearing aid.
Oh, wow.
Every 5 years.
Okay.
So we can look into that as an option as well.
That's awesome, honestly, because, you know, my friend who I go bird watching with every week, Bart, he spent $2,000 on a pair of hearing aids, like probably a year or two ago, and I just don't have that kind of money. So it's good to hear that those programs are offered.
It does add up. It is quite costly, but as well, we do have the option of if you have private insurance that you've paid into through your work. I'm not sure if that's something.
I do actually.
So
yeah.
you could always look in and see if they do cover hearing aids.
Oh, okay.
And the biggest one that I don't think people realize is that hearing aids are a medical device, so you can write them off on your taxes.
Really?
Yes. We can look into that, but I don't think you can't do all of it at once. We can't go to ADP and ask for $500 and WSIB cover it. So we'll have to play around and see what we can get you, but I think that we can do something to help reduce that cost for you.
I mean, yeah, curb my finance worries. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned you had the concerns about your hands shaking and the dexterity. That's also an option that we can go over different hearing aid styles and see which ones you think may best fit what you're able to do. We have plenty of options.
So the one thing is I don't know, that's what my friend Bart, he has those style of hearing aids, those ones that like hang off the back of your ear there. I can see it all the time. And that's my one concern with it, is I don't want people to see it all the time, honestly. Well, not my one concern, I guess. Sorry, I'm giving you a million here. But no, I think people seeing it, I'd rather be avoided, right? So do you guys have options where we can work around that so it's not so visible?
Yeah, so a lot of the hearing aids do come in multiple color options, so you can pick colors that may best suit the kit, like mesh in with your hair color.
Okay.
So we can pick more of a darker tone to match your darker hair. There's also options of ones that have a very thin wire or very thin tube or something that goes up the side,
Okay.
and then that's also very hard to notice because when you're looking face to face, all you would just see is a very thin see-through tube.
Right. So that sounds pretty good. Overall though, like, do you guys still offer any hearing aids that don't have that like body, or are those the only ones?
No, we can do custom fit ones. So these ones would just sit inside of your ear. Just right in, you would just put them in as if you're putting in an earbud.
Okay.
There
Oh,
are
an
different.
earbud, that sounds really easy.
Exactly. So there are plenty of options. We can go over those with you.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, but the last thing is, you know, with earbuds, something that I find to be a real pain is they never really sit in my ear that well, and that was what I was telling you earlier about with how the earplugs don't fit in my ear so well at work, and that's why I don't wear the ear protection, right? So is there a way around that, or is it just, am I gonna be in like discomfort if I have that?
No, so when there is nothing behind the ear, the actual hearing aid is all in your ear, and it will be custom fit.
Really?
So we would take a silicone mold of the inside of your ear.
And is that a risk factor to that? You guys, how do you do a mold of someone's ear?
So we're just gonna use a little bit of silicone. It would feel a little bit cold. After about 5 minutes, we'll just slowly remove it. There's no harm, no pain. It'll be in and out in about 5 minutes,
Wow.
and then we'll ship it off to the manufacturer.
And that's custom built to my ear.
Yeah, so when you get your hearing aids and you put them in, they should fit quite snug because they know exactly what the inside of your ear looks like.
Okay, well that's phenomenal to hear, and thank you for giving me the introduction to all these hearing aids. I guess I don't know where to go from here. If I am interested, you know, is this the time to look into getting it, or do I need to book a follow-up appointment? Or...
So I am just gonna go look at some options, grab a few things, and then we can discuss just one or two styles that would best fit your needs, and then from there we can discuss whether this is something you would like to deal with today, or if you'd like to look into more, wait for the WSIB to come through.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Well, yeah, it sounds good. I think, we should definitely look into the payment methods, because price is still an important thing here. So
I do want to make sure that the price is comfortable enough for you to be happy to get these hearing aids.
Perfect.
So let me just go get a few things and we can discuss some styles.
Sounds good.
So as you can see, the hearing aids that we offer do come in multiple styles.
Yeah, I've never seen a lot of these.
So the style I'm going to recommend that we use for you is going to be the style we call RIE.
These actually look very, very similar to what my friend I was talking about earlier, Bart, who wears hearing aids. he has the really big clunky like body I was talking about, but it was actually this. I didn't realize you guys have a small one like this, because he has this really, really large thing, and it's so visible, you know. He has a similar haircut to me, and I mean, these look awesome.
Yeah. So with the bigger ones, these are more for severe loss.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Honestly, my friend Bart, he's like practically deaf almost. He has really, really bad hearing, and he has since he was young. So that makes way much more sense. Yeah.
That's definitely something that I'm not gonna put on you. We're not gonna have to deal with that. Yeah. So these would use bigger tubing, and with the RIEs, the receiver in the ears, that's just a little wire.
Right. Okay.
So the only part that you're actually gonna see is the little wire coming out in front of your ear. And a lot of the times, people aren't looking at your ears enough to notice that there's a wire sitting in front of them.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I can say right off the bat, you know I was mentioning how, or you were talking earlier about those custom ear molds, and I don't know if I actually want to lean towards that looking at them now. You know, I think a lot of these look really visible. You know, I couldn't see myself wearing this. I think I just really wouldn't enjoy the look of it, regardless of if it was custom to my ear or not. But I actually really do like the look of these that you recommended. I don't know if I can choose any three of these that I want, and but I mean, if I can, you know, I do really like the smaller version of these. It says the mini RIEs, I think it says here. Yeah, the mini RIEs instead of just the RIE. I really like the look of these too, yeah.
That's definitely an option that we can look into for you, and I do think it would be the mini RIE does come in rechargeable, and I know you said that you were having issues with your hands shaking, so if batteries are something that you're worried about, being able to have to get that little battery inside of the door once a week, then this rechargeable option is something that we can definitely go forward with.
I think definitely. I don't know that I'll be able to put up with that struggle on a weekly basis of batteries, so I think rechargeable is the way to go here.
Yeah, so let me go grab a sample and we can see how you like it.
Sounds good.